Hello, hoping this is working. My first time using live Facebook, so if you're there, please drop me a WhatsApp or a message so that I know you are online and this is working. Everyone there? Okay, so I'm getting some likes, so I presume that means this is working. Okay. I'm going to wait 2 more minutes so that we start exactly on time at 6 o'clock. So please be patient. Okay, so we begin, and Martin, I hope you like my German-like precision. We start exactly at 6 o'clock. Okay. Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. I'm very happy to be with you today. Martin and Richard, thank you very much for the invite to share some knowledge. Before I begin, Martin and Nadia, congratulations on setting up such a wonderful platform. But beyond that, congratulations, I think, to the entire global karate community. I think the collaboration that I've seen on this site has just been phenomenal, and I did put that in a private message to Martin, but I think it warrants a public comment too. I think this is what karate is all about. It's about coming together to be bettering oneself, but also bettering the world out there. And so I love this opportunity. Thank you very much. Today's session is going to be predominantly on utilizing hip rotation in order to deliver Ichigeki Satsu technique. So I think all of us train with that in mind. So Ichigeki Satsu is to kill with one blow. And of course, I'm not for a moment recommending you go out and kill someone. What I am suggesting is that you should have the ability to incapacitate someone should the need arise. Hip action is not done to the extreme enough, and it's not focused on enough often. So what we're going to do is work on the hip action and then apply it both to Gyaku-zuki and then to mawashi-geri. I think probably your bread and butter arm and leg technique respectively. And then time dependent, we'll try and link the two together because they work wonderfully well in combination. So you'll see that a little bit later. So for this session you do need to be warm, so we warm up first. Head round. Side to side, ear to shoulder, and swing arms to the front. So for now, just for the short term in the warm-up, I'm going to take you a full screen and I'll change it back. Hoping you still all that, shake it out, arms out. Upper back, so that's lower back, and upper back. And roll your hips, both ways, side to side, and extend, deep leg forward stance, and push it down. Onto the ball of your foot. And sit back. Stretch to the right. Onto the ball of your foot. And sit back. Fish. Left leg out. Try and open out as much as you can. As I said, we will be doing Mwashi-geri a little bit later, so I want you flexible and warm, no injuries. Particularly, I caught the last bit of Nudge's live comments a few minutes ago that it's cold and rainy in New York. So I know in Europe it's probably a bit cold as well. Make sure you're fully warm. And lean over. Have a leg. And sit back and lean over. And stretch out, center splits. So always when you're stretching, and maybe we'll spend a little bit of time right at the end of the class doing a little bit of stretching, but just make sure you're relaxed and make sure you push out on your exhalation, not your inhalation. Again, all about reducing injury, and the more flexible you are, the less likely you are to injure yourself. Sit back, into your left, and right, and center. Bring your legs in, knees up into your chest, and extend out. Again, use your breathing, try and get your chest as close to your knee as you can. And butterfly. Left ankle. Toes as well. And right ankle. Pull up. And the other one. And up. Roll your knees. And shake out. Good. Hopefully you will. I'm feeling a bit better. So today I'm going to make you feel uncomfortable. You know, they say if you really want to challenge yourself, you have to go beyond your limit. But the problem is you can't extend so far beyond your limit that it becomes impossible. They found that extending yourself about 4% beyond what was your maximum is the best way to improve performance. And let's be honest, to have an incapacitating technique, you need to reach the limits of your performance. So if you watch my head, predominantly most people do this for Hamni, which is about 45 degrees, and then fire in, maybe they quite get to Shoman, maybe not quite, and that's the full extent of their hip rotation. If you have a look, it's very small. So what I'm going to do today is teach you a much bigger compressed hip action, and what that does is create far more power. Remember, your hip is what's catalyzing the movement of your arm coming off. It's the speed at which this rotates, of course together with the kinetic chain of using your heel, using your back leg, driving hip, using your core. But today the focus will be on a big compressed hip action to drive out either the punch or later on the Mwashi-geri. And so if you have a look at my position, I'll show you from the side. I did put a 2-minute clip on this previously, so hopefully you saw it, so this is only a revision. But what's very important is that you maintain this butt being forward all the time. What tends to happen is people, the more they rotate, the more this butt sticks out, and also the more your front knee tends to move. So what I want, I'm just going to put you on full screen so I can see easier. Right. So what I want, you can actually put this knee onto something. Imagine you had a wall there and you were clamped in a vise. As you're rotating, can you see how stable that knee remains? And if you have a look, I haven't rotated my shoulders. It's not about shoulder rotation, it's about hip rotation. So before we start the Gyaku-zuki, put your hands on your hips. Lock this, use your adductor muscles, hands on your hips, extend out, and remember, put your butt forward. Now, when you go forward, you can do one of two things. You can either release your front hip and put it back into line. Imagine a door. You can either shut the door or take the door off its hinges and pull the back part off to get the door in the same line. So this is equivalent to taking the door off its hinges and putting back. You wouldn't do that. What I want you to do is stabilize here. And it's in fact your back hip that is coming through. And can you see how extreme that movement? For today, When you do the Gyaku-zuki, I want your hips to be almost Gyaku-hami, but maintain your arms being, your shoulders being shomen. So if you have a look, hip in even more, shoulders straight, can you see my hands on the same line? And that is your position. So when you're doing the Gyaku-zuki, you're thinking of 5 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All converging onto your opponent. Remember, you're coming from wider to narrower. And the biggest problem I see is when people hit, they get this divergent effect. Obviously, I'm exaggerating the move, but I'm a bit out of skew here. Okay. So even if you have a look at my leg and you see that is divergent, I want clamped in. So let's try. Put your hands on your hips, extend out, and in. And out, and in. Even more. So now relax. Breathe easy, and extend even further. And out. And in, use your legs, easy, even more, and back, and be soft, be malleable. So if you watch, what I want is fluidity, malleability in the hip. If you tense prematurely, you get stuck. Be big and big, big and big. Let's keep trying. Out and in. Out, cut forward and in. And stand up. And if you're doing it properly, maybe you should be a little bit tired on your front leg. Good. So now we're going to add in the punch. The idea is, and also because of time, I may neglect doing one side. Please don't do that in your own training. I think one of the things karate is so important for is creating ambidexterity. You must have 4 weapons, not just 2. So we now get on to the punch. I did put up a little Kion excerpt on how to do punch, Agoki and Murai. So I don't want to spend too much time on that. I encourage you to find it. It is somewhere on the Karate at Home page. But because the focus is more on the hip. But there are one or two things I want to emphasize. The first is fist position. I so often see people punching like this, and that's how you break your hand. Idea is here, these 2 knuckles aiming down the center of your forearm. That's your contact point, that's where you're strongest. Your path out needs to be straight. Listen. Hopefully you can hear that. You're getting a straight along there. In fact, Sensei Stan Schmidt, who I'm sure most of you will know, he was the doyen of karate in South Africa, used to say you must wear away the seam of your gi over here. And that's what I always have in my mind. Try and wear away that seam. So the idea is you're there, opposite arm is pulled back. If you watch me in the video, you can actually see my elbow on the other side of my body. So if you have a look, can you see how I've pulled it back? Can you see where my hip is? And now the problem is you throw your arm and it flicks round. Instead of letting your hip drive your body. Have a look again. Can you see what I'm doing? Hip launches arm. And through there, I only rotate my wrist once my elbow is past my side. Get a twist at the end so that everything contracts. In fact, a little exercise we can try quickly. Go near a wall. Imagine the wall is here. What you're going to do is give yourself very little leeway. So 1 or 2 millimeters. Can you see what I'm doing? Imagine the wall is here. And I have to scrape past without connecting the wall. Please try it slowly. I don't want you to break your wall or your arm. So I'm a little bit far, but I'm going to use the micro on the back here. Have a look. It's very tight for me. I pull and release. Pull and release. I'm going to let you try that 5 or 10 times. Pull it back. Here's your wall. Ensure that you keep your elbow locked, and through the motion. Let's try more. Shi. And back. Go. And back. Rip. And back. Sich. And back. Hach. And back. Ku. And back. And ju. Good. So I hope all of you survived that. Please try the other side. So you're going to stay the other way, get that opposite arm pulled, and watch and listen as it comes out. So hold it onto the wall, ish, and back. Pull, 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 knee, and back. Side, and back. Shi, and back. Go, and back. Rick, and back. Sich, and back. We do 3 more. Hach, and back. Ku, and back. And last one, ju. And back. Yum. Okay, so please come to the center of your room again. So the one other thing we haven't spoken about yet is the hikite arm. So the retracted arm, if you watch, you must turn, so the wrist turns first. Here the wrist turns late. Here the wrist turns early, so that you lock your elbow in and you scrape. But there has to be a connectivity between the arm going out and the arm pulling back. So often you see people doing limb karate. So by that I mean, it's very fast, but there's no real kinetic. Maybe good for competition, but not for delivering an ichigeki satsu blow. And there's no, even if it's a combination, it floats, there's nothing connecting that with this or that. So you have to think of pull, strike, but almost imagine coming together and out. Try it again. Itch. And back. Have you forgotten your hip? Look where I am. Look where my opposite arm is. Knee. And back. Side. And back. Shi. And back. And go. Excellent. Good. We change legs. So down. Remember your arm pulls and back. And also, please excuse me, I had a knee operation a few months back, so I can't go as down on this leg as I would like. Still recuperating, but you go more down, get full extension. Itch. And back. Knee. And back. Pull, pull, pull. Bum underneath you. Seven. And back. Think about this arm. Shi. And back. And again. Go. And jump. Okay, so take a light break here. Now we're going to start applying the hip. Pull your hips out. And side to side. Okay, and down. So now it's all about the hip action. The more you compress, the more you can explode outward. So if you think about it, imagine I had an elastic band, right? If you twirl it maybe once or twice and you release, it kind of slowly unravels. As opposed to twist, 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 and release. You see it explodes open. So that is what you need to do with your hip. You need to create so much torsion on that hip that it just wants to release. So if you watch me, idea is watch my hip, I pull, it's so compressed, now, blast. Whereas if I'm halfway, there's nothing really catalyzing the movement. And it becomes a forced push. You know, often the criticism of Shotokan karate is that we push. And the truth is, sometimes people are right with that criticism because your kime point because you're not driving with the hip, becomes forced and too long. And this actually is a very important point. How long should your kime point be? Okay? So, I wanted to make this a little bit more interactive, but in testing this earlier, as I said, it's the first time I've used it, I realized there's a latency of about 20 seconds, so that won't work. So, it will unfortunately be a rhetorical question, but please think about it for a moment. How long should your kime point be? Okay. So, if you said, let me take you back a step. If it's too short, nice snap, but no impact. If it's too long, becomes that pushy punch that I was alluding to a few minutes ago. So it needs to be about about half a second. So not too long, not too short. And if you watch, that's your kime point. Vibrate and release. And that core contraction with that hip is what creates that kime. Remember, today's session is about delivering an incapacitating technique. If you are even fractionally off on the length of time of your kime point, it won't work. Okay, so let's get into our position. Compress, right underneath you. Your back leg can't release because then there's no torsion. Back leg in, can you see what I'm doing? Forward, out of that. Release. And that's the pace I want your arm to rock it off. The idea is hip launches. That idea. Hip fires off. Hopefully you get that. I know I'm talking quite a lot, but that's because I need to explain it conceptually before we can apply it. So, we try 10. Pull. More. And back. Even more. Push that butt forward. Opposite arm tight. Knee. And let me ask you this. Have you stopped there or did you complete your movement? So my favorite saying, and I know my wife, who's watched a few of my seminars around the world, always goes, is this the one where you say, if you think it's enough, it's not enough? So yes, I'm going to say that again. If you think you're done, you're not done. You can still go more. Most of you only get to 85 to 90%. Get to 110%. So you're going even more than Shoman. You're actually going a little Gyaku-zuki on that. Right, we continue. Drive off the heel, drive off your butt, and forward. And back. Oh, we can do Tato. And in. And back. Push your bum forward, pull that opposite arm again. I can see my arm on this, so it's reversed. On that side of my body. So pull, pull, and did you use your back leg? So there's a slight bend in the leg. That's on purpose. So it's intended. Shove. See what I'm doing? Shove, shove. Drive that hip with it. Okay, let's try 10 more. Pull your body out. And back. Then heel, bum, hip rotation. And back. Sun. And back. Sheep. And back. And last one. Go. And you see where my belt is? Because of the hip, it's actually whipped my belt right across. And stand up. And shake your hips out. Hopefully you're pulling to your extreme. You know, one of the wonderful things I think of Zoom is that, or giving Zoom classes, is that it's showing me the errors that I'm doing in my karate. You know, normally I'm obviously giving the class, yes, I train with my black belts, but I don't concentrate on me so much. This way I'm looking at my own errors. And despite me thinking I was really at the extreme of the movement, I realized when I was actually doing it, I was only getting there, as opposed to there. So, as I said, if you think you've gone enough, you haven't gone enough. Good. So, we now roll your knees. I want to try a little bit on the other side, then we will move on. So, yoink. Right leg going forward. Get on the right way. You more down than I am, please. Turn your hip. Push your bum forward. Drive off the hip. Drive off the heel. And back. Opposite arm tight. And if you had that wall there, would you have clipped it with your elbow? I hope not. Knee. Even more. So soften. And in. And put it back. Sun. And put it back. Shoot. And put it back. Drive off the heel. Go. And yummy. Good. So, please stretch out because we now move on to Mwashi-geri. Then I'll give you a 1 minute break if you want to get some water or rest a little. Okay, hopefully you are nice and warm. We now move on to Mwashi-geri. The hip and the path are integrally related. And the biggest issue I find with Mwashi-geri is the path is incorrect because your hip and your knee don't go to the right place. So as an example, let's say you're kicking off your back leg. Most people tend to, well not most, some people, fire their knee forward and you end up getting this curved mawashi-geri effect instead of a rounded effect. That's very easy to stop if you think about it. Here's a little tricky. You want the idea of coming over and down onto the head. Over and down. If you curve it upwards, you see how easy it is to prevent that from hitting you. So we go through 5 stages. We're going to practice it slowly. And please work on this exercise yourself. You need to understand the components of a movement before you can put it all together. And I think so often people rush to do fancy katas or fancy technique, but their technique is found wanting and therefore they don't score or don't work in the street. So the sooner you understand the importance of kion, the better. Kion is kion. Kion is kata. Kion is kumite. That's the only way for your technique to be effective. So we do a little exercise. The first movement is out to the side. So I'm going to repeat that. Your opponent is in front of you. That said, if it's coming off your back leg, to the side. So if you have a look at my position, I'm lifting sideways. I'll show you this direction. My heel is only fractionally lower than my knee. Not too much. Only a little bit, and of course, not that way. I am lifting up as high as I need to and directly to the side. So we please do that. Relax a moment. I'll explain all 5 positions, then we'll try it. So that is 1. 2 is the spin. Now, here's the kicker. Excuse the pun, that wasn't actually intended. You need to have a reverse extension on your hip. If you just pull your hip through, you're like a cat chasing its own tail. How do you put the brakes on? So if you watch my hip, can you see what I'm doing? I'll show you in slow motion. As I'm coming around, I extend open. This knee controls distance, but inevitably you're projecting. So that's your feeling. So if you watch, point 1, point 2, open out. Point 3, let's see, I'm out of the camera, let me be back a little bit. Point 3, over. Point 4, back. Point 5, clamp in and put it down. I'm trying to place myself so you can see, but if you watch the over bit, round and down, over and back. Can you see my heel is still up? Again, some people tend to strike and then collapse that foot down. That doesn't work. So it's up, out, over, back, down. You must pass through each of those components. That is the path of your movement. If you miss any of that out, you denigrate the path and your technique doesn't work. So we try it together. Please alternate legs. Knee up, out, and open. Over, you can hold or not. Back, in, and down. Up, out, over, back, in, and down. Stay more down your squatting leg. Again, that's my knee, but please go down more. The more down you are on your squatting leg, the easier it is for you to balance. Push your bum forward. So we're only going to do a few, and you should be feeling it in your glutes, feeling it in your thoracolpelvic head. So up, out, open it up, over, back, pull it in, and down. Just roll your hips out at this point. Okay, we try the other one. Bend, knee up, direct knee to the side. Spin, over, back, still keep it round. Pull it in, and place it down. See, I'm still down. And again, you must relax during your kick. So you want core contraction and down, but not so stiff. Be light, core at the end. So, you need two types of strength, right? The first is an isokinetic strength, so you need dynamic strength. The second one is an isometric, which is a stable contraction and strength. So, for example, you need the power, let's say it's a side thrust, to go out, but you also need the power to hold. And if you're working on isometric contraction, which is holding it right at the end point, you get strength around 10-20 degrees around that joint, which of course is not the full range of the movement. So you need to do both, and this exercise is nice core and contraction and strength training through it, holding the position so you're getting a combination of both, back and down, and of course, flexibility training as well. But again, 4% more than your max, that's how high you go. 4% longer than your max, that's how long you hold. So we try, bend, I think it's that leg, up, over, 3, 4, pull in, and down. Last one on the other side, knee up, spin, open your hip out, over, back, pull your hip in, and down, and shake your hips, roll your hips out. And just stretch out a little. So in fact I'll give you 10 more seconds to recover. So when you're actually doing the Mwashi-geri off the back leg, this action in order to do it is imperative. So if you watch, this is catalyzing movement. My leg goes through that path and down. That rounded path is very important coming off your back leg. Not only does it make it harder to stop because you have a rounded effect, but also you pass through your opponent's blind spot. So you can do this as an exercise yourself. Take a pen, big pen, put a bright nib on the edge of it, and look dead straight, and just start moving it around. And you'll find round about here, you tend to have a blind spot. And that's the path you want your kick to be coming through, so that by the time the guy notices it, it's already there. Good. So we try a little bit faster. We're going to break it now into knee up, spinning kick, and down. So it will be knee up, spinning kick, and down. So we have 3 movements. but I am still going through all 5 compartments. So we try. Bend, start that leg. 1, think hip, and snap. And down. The less, you don't have to kick Jordan. Chudo Mwashi-geri can be extremely effective, and in fact, even coming Mwashi-geri down into the groin, also very powerful. So if you're not so flexible, rather than laboring to get your movement high, please keep the technique and the path correct and kick a little bit lower. So we try the other one. Lift up, think hip. And if you have a look, my heel and my butt are virtually connected. That snap action is so important. Wop up, back. Place emphasis on the retraction, like a whip. Always like a whip when you're doing a snap kick. We try a couple more. Bend, lift up, think hip, and down. And bend, lift up, think hip, and down. And we do one more on each side. Lift up, hip, and down. Other one up, hip, and down. And relax. Roll your hips out. And stretch out. I'm hoping you're all still there. It's hard for me to tell. Good. Seen some recent ones, so I take it that means you're still there. Okay, so, please. We now do it in one action. I often tell my students, do it at the pace that you are almost comfortable at. So challenge yourself a little bit, but if you make something so impossible for you to do, you'll never achieve it. It needs to be short term, and that's when you get your incremental improvement. So we tried one go. Those of you who are more senior and more comfortable doing mawashi-geri, and I say senior, I mean maybe rank, not age, or maybe both. So up, spin that hip, over, back, keep your heel up, then place it down. Those of you who are more proficient with mawashi-geri, think speed. Anybody can do this fast. You don't need to be a karateka. It's how quickly you get your hip and your knee there that makes all the difference in the world. So we're going to try 5 on each side. We'll start whichever leg you prefer. Hip, down. And back. And relax. So each time you make yourself comfortable. Knee. And back. So move your hip more. Remember it's this. The faster you rotate that, the faster your leg comes through. And you need to accelerate through your movement. Remember, those of you remember your high school physics, or technically applied mass, force equals mass times acceleration. So the more you accelerate through there, the more force when you hit your opponent. So again, we try. Move your hip, go! And back. Good. And one more. Go! And we try the other leg. So I'm going to try and do it forward and sideways so you can see the path from both directions. So I'll do sideways for you. Think hip. And in. Itch. And back. You're only doing 5. Make yourself comfortable. Rotate. Knee. And back. And again, stay down. So the one thing you don't want to do when you kick is lift up. Remember, it's easy to balance on 2 feet. Why? Double the surface area and quite easy to get your center of gravity over your base. As soon as you're on 1 foot, you're halving that surface area. Now you stand up on that leg, you make life very difficult for yourself. Compress onto that supporting leg Don't float onto the outside of your foot. Keep your foot flat, splay your toes, grip the ground. So I think we maybe have 2 more on this side. Shoot! And back. And we do 1 more. Go! And stand up again there. And use. It's always nice to have somebody with you, of course, and you can always test yourself against that person. So you must understand, I think competition, I'm not literally talking shy where you win medals. A little bit of competition in the dojo is an excellent idea. Constructive competition, good sportsmanship, of course, but test yourself. Test yourself against yourself, yes, but also against the top people in your dojo. That's how you raise your level to theirs. So after lockdown, when you train, always pick somebody a little bit better than you, a little bit faster than you, and hopefully he can pull you up to his level. That I know. Okay, I'm now going to talk about mawashi-geri of the front leg. So the principle of the path that I've explained to you remains true. But you are already essentially in this position. Why? Because look where my hip is. It would make no sense to pull it back to come forward with that leg. But remember what I said, your hip needs to be here. Look outside now. So you have a little bit of leeway, because none of us fight like that. You'd be a little bit relaxed. This is your hip action. So now we're back in essentially number 2. From there, you can snap that leg. Lift knee, can you see where I am? And then don't neglect at this point the over and back. That still needs to happen. That's 4. How you go down is still in, but generally it will be in and forward, not in and back. So that again is the same compression inwards, just step forward. Okay, so we try. Finding mine. Unfortunately, in fact, let's do this first and I'll discuss the back leg. So from here, 1, which is actually 2. Lift up, snap, pull it in, and down. And also if you watch what I'm doing, I'm covering myself. Because if he does manage to block you, you kick in this position, you're very open for the counter attack. There, pull it in, drop it down. So we try again. 1, lift up, snap, and down. Hopefully you have that. Let's try 1 or 2 more. Then kick, lift, rotate that hip even a little bit more as you do the rounded move. Shoot, and into your stance. And last one. Spin, up, snap, and down. And always zanshin after your kick. Let me rephrase that. Zanshin before your kick, zanshin during your kick, zanshin after your kick. Otherwise you'll find yourself flat on your back. Let's try the other leg. So bend, remember what I said, rotate the hip, lift your knee up. So now we're in point position number 2. Don't forget to come round. 3, and put it down, and then Hajo Zanshin. So we try again, into a stance, hip, up, snap, and down. And relax, always be comfortable. You know, of course we can do repetition, maybe 50 times of this, and you'll be dead at the end of it, but maybe you don't understand 100% what I want. And then what you could potentially be doing is ingraining the wrong technique. So I'd rather explain a little bit more, let you do fewer reps. You must do some reps to start creating that neuromuscular pathway, and then please, practice, practice, practice. The more you practice correctly, the more it becomes, your leg has a mind of its own. So if you're in the street, or maybe the younger people are still entering competition, you must have a level of subconscious competence where without thinking about it, you see the gap and you take the opening with that Ippon technique. That's the idea. So we're here, pull, up, snap, one more. Get yourself comfortable. Pull. Up. Snap. And down. Good. And roll your head. So stretch out. And then I'm going to explain a little bit about the back leg. Okay, so remember I said to you at the beginning of the class I'm going to challenge you. So the challenge here is we're going to kick mawashi-geri off our front leg, but not do the suriyashi layout. So what happens is, why do you do that in the first place? You do it because look where my center of gravity is, you need your base over it, and then very easy to kick and balance. But the downside of that is it takes time to do that movement. So if your opponent's very acutely aware, very sharp, as that foot moves, he's going to nail it. And that's not what you want. So I'm not saying there isn't a place for suriyashi mawashi. Of course it is. It's a very powerful technique. But if you can do this, I think maybe even better. So the idea, watch my back foot. I bend, I shove with my back leg, and my momentum lets my back leg pull up afterwards. It's not in the movement. It's not the first part of the movement. This is the first part of the movement. Hopefully you can see my foot there. Watch my back leg. Can you see how it's driving off? Of course this is easier if I have an opponent to demonstrate on. In fact, I think I have a clip doing this on one of my students from a couple of months ago. So after the class, maybe tonight or tomorrow, I will upload that clip where you can see exactly what I'm talking about with that projection on the back leg and the rotation on the hip. Bearing in mind the clip would have been filmed before coronavirus, hence it was in the dojo. So from here, let's try. Bend, shove, and up. So that foot just pops up. One moment you're here, the next moment you're up there. So please try. Again, very effectively done as a chudan. Or, I think most males will attest, you get that gedan, you're going down. So even gedan kick, I'm perfectly happy with. We try a few. Compress, remember, this, shove with your back leg. This creates so much power into your opponent, and it's so often neglected. Why? Because you stand up, so how can you compress and extend on that leg? You've got to learn how to use compression, expansion. Good. We try a few more. Bend, shove. And one more. Bend, shove. Good. Let's try the other leg. So I am cognizant of the fact that I'm running a bit out of time. So we only do 5. Compress, shove. Compress, shove. Compress, shove. And if you're hearing a snap out and a snap back. I'm actually hitting myself, listen. The second one is I'm actually hitting myself on the retraction. And that's the kind of emphasis I want placed on it. So let's try again. Hit yourself on the return. And one more. Go. Good. And yame. And roll your hips. And stretch out, and then we move on to the last phase of the class. In fact, maybe we'll leave that for another time and place. I'm going to give you a little bit of insight into it. I'll demonstrate what the next phase is, but we're not going to do it today. I first want you to get individual techniques right. So, Gyaku-zuki and mawashi-geri lend themselves to a wonderful combination. Either the Gyaku first, then the mawashi, or the Mwashi first and then the Gyaku, or off your back side, or off your leading side. So, I give you an example. Gyaku-zuki, watch my head. Because think how close you are. You've done the Gyaku-zuki. How on earth are you going to do a suri-ashi and hit the guy? You'll be way too close. So the idea is, I'm here, sit, project. I'm here, sit, project. And if you look at my range, see what I'm doing? In, out. What most people do is that, and they wonder why they get knocked over. You've got to project forward despite pushing off that back leg. So that's the one. The other side is to do the Gyaku first. This, I think, is easier because your hip is flowing in already. So it's going in the same direction. This was one of my favorite techniques when I was competing, and I find it quite powerful, both because of the change in size and change in pace and change in distance. So the other one would be here and in. Watch my hip and in. In fact, I will also try and find a clip for you of this, because again, I think if you see it on somebody, and this would have been live interaction, much more effective than just watching me demonstrate it. I think if you can place it together with an opponent, the visualization of your technique becomes easier. So I'm not sure what that clip is, but I'll have a look for you and see if I can find it. So that's out here where we're going to get to. There, or through that way. But maybe another time. So, we revise what we've done. We've got a few minutes. I want you to just refresh and embed it into your brain. So the idea is hip action. You can do it with me as I'm talking. We're going to do it slowly. Remember, when you hug me, you're not 45. You get a true compression of that hip. You see where my shoulders are? Your knee doesn't float in or back, and you compress. You hold the back leg, you create torsion. So that through that torsion you release. The more you compress, the more it explodes outwards. When you're doing it, be cognizant of the fact that you keep your fist upturned until past your side. Squeeze that out, squeeze the retracting arm back, and connect the two. Connect through your core, connect your body. When you get to your final position, you have a look at my hip. Most people are happy there and they think they're shoman. No, I want shoman, that's shoman, now I want Gyaku-zuki. But maintain shoulders straight. Of course, it's not hand done when you're doing a true Gyaku-zuki where you rotate your shoulders as well. And remember what I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, directed to your opponent. Everything, mental tanden, physical tanden, everything honed towards your opponent. Why? Because we're delivering an Ichigeki Satsu technique. Good. So that is the Gyaku-zuki. When we talk about mawashi-geri, remember 5-stage path coming off your back leg. Number 1, of course, always bend. Number 1, directly to the side. 2, turn, never here. Can't kick if you square. Turn your body. And if you watch, look how I'm opening out. Open out, extend. Heel and knee more or less the same. Over and back. That's my path. My heel is still up. Pull it in. Either forward or back, doesn't really matter, depending on what your opponent's doing. That's for off your back leg. Off your front leg, you are essentially in number 2 already. It would make zero sense to pull back to go forward. So what you're doing is pulling the hip from almost 2 to 2. Lifting that knee up, we're now exactly, if you remember, number 2. So 3 remains the same, the pulling remains the same, and the down remains the same. No shortcuts, guys. Practice each of those components until you can do it as one fluid motion correctly. Key on, key on, key on, key on, and I can't stress that enough. Good. And then of course the next thing would be to put it together, but not for tonight. So I think we have a few minutes left for stretching. Please make sure you cool down after every training session. I know the younger guys, I think some of us, now that I'm in my mid-40s, some of us 40s plus, remember the days where we could just train, finish off and walk out and not be sore the next day. You need to stretch, and even if you're young, please stretch. So we try center splits. Use your breathing. Heels in the same line as you breathe in. And now as you breathe out is when you start pushing out. In and out. In and out. And you take it to where you think you're at max, and then just go there 4% more. When you stretch, you should be uncomfortable, but not in pain. Uncomfortable, but not in pain. And let's hold for 20 seconds. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, ku, ju. Try and be upright. Now squeeze your heels into the ground. Squeeze, tense, tense, tense. As you relax, you should be able to release down a little bit more, 1 or 2 inches more. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, ku, and sit back. Bring your legs in, always slowly, don't jolt. Heels in, butterfly, and just ease it out. Knees into your chest, grab around the ball of your feet, and just slide it out. And up. Pull your hips. Other way. And I think that brings us to the end of the class. So once again, thank you for the invitation to teach. I hope you enjoyed that. I was very happy to be here, so thank you for allowing me to teach you. Just please note, I have had a lot of friend requests from some of the members. Unfortunately, my Facebook is full, so I'm not adding you because I don't want to, it's because I can't. You're more than welcome to follow our DorfmanKarate page or follow me personally. But unfortunately, I won't be able to add you as a friend. I look forward to more wonderful sessions from seeing you guys in this group. I think the level of instruction has been fantastic. And again, Martin, thank you for the invite, and Nadia, thank you for the great platform. Us, train on, please practice.